Deadpool 2, once again proving that Ryan Reynolds can make an X-Men film better than the X-Men films. Coming right up. What's up everyone, Chris here from MTR Network, and I'm back finally with another review. It's been like a week or so. I think the last one we did was Infinity War, and thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel after that and watched that video. Really appreciate it. We are back though. I am back with another review, this time for Deadpool 2. You guys know what time it is. I'm gonna say right now, still the Deadpool series so far is still doing way better at being X-Men films than the actual X-Men films, but we will get to that in a minute. Let's start. This is what I'm going to do for this one. Let's start by going into what didn't work for this film, because it's not going to take very long. I think the best way to put Deadpool 2 is to say that it's basically John Wick 2 to John Wick 1. And what I mean by that is, I think John Wick 1 is a better film than John Wick 2. John Wick 2, you can see they try to do a little bit more story. It's a little bit all over the place, but you still enjoy the fuck out of it because it's Keanu Reeves killing a bunch of people with guns and knives and all kinds of martial arts and things like that. So it was still very enjoyable, so you don't really care. That's basically Deadpool 2. Like, there's a little bit more story here, and it's a bit all over the place. You can just tell, and it basically suffered from sequelitis, where you can just tell the sequel, they try to do a little bit more than the first film, and it doesn't always work. But again, it's not so much you're like, oh, fuck this film, but you can definitely see it. It's like the transition between some scenes, it's a little bit all over the place. The story is, it's okay. You know, there's not really a villain in this movie either. So there's that. The only other thing I would say that's a negative is, if you were expecting to see a lot of X-Force, because you see them in the trailer, you're not going to get a lot of X-Force. So, telling you that now to kind of manage your expectations, because if you go in expecting to see a lot of these other characters, you're going to be disappointed. And kind of going into, I think it's probably for the better, because going back to what I said before about the story kind of suffering a little bit, there's just so many other characters that are thrown in here that it becomes overbearing almost sometimes. So they're just trying to jump between so many different things. So it probably is for the better that the X-Force is not in there as much as you would think. But yeah, so that's basically the gist of the things that don't work. And I'm doing it up front again because I want people to hear that, because again, I'm going to go into the things that do work, which is why everything I just said probably won't matter to about 90% of the people that are going to go see this film. So let's go into the list of things that work for this film, and I think we should start right off the bat with the biggest thing that works for this film is Ryan Reynolds. I think with the things I listed about, you know, the story being all over the place, it's, you know, juggling too many characters, I think with anybody else as Deadpool, it would have been a major problem. But because it's Ryan Reynolds, it works. Like, you don't really care about those things because Ryan Reynolds is such a good Wade Wilson. It just doesn't matter. And I'm so happy for that because I am a Ryan Reynolds fan. Like, he's had some problems. Obviously, we know Wolverine Origins. We know of Green Lantern. Blade Trinity. I almost forgot that he was in that film. So he's had some struggles, but the thing about it is, it's never really Ryan Reynolds that's a problem with those films. So I'm really glad that he's found like just something that really just works for him with Deadpool. Also, shout out to him. I'm also glad that the Hitman's Bodyguard got a sequel, because him and Sam Jackson together, it's perfect. So, but yeah, so Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool works, and it's just everything he brings with it. Like some of the things we're gonna go into the rest of this, I know Ryan Reynolds had a part in this, and he's just so passionate about being Deadpool. It's just hard not to enjoy this film and what they do with it, because they nail it. That goes into let's go to the next thing that works. I mean, it goes without saying, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this. It's funny as fuck. Like, it's the same humor of the first Deadpool, just kind of +2, just even more. The opening credit, I still think out of all of the superhero movies, Deadpool still has the best opening credits. Like, they do a spoof of the James Bond movies with this opening credits, and it's just so great. And the way they time it and where they put it in it, it works. But beyond that, just the way they do it. So Josh Brolin, we'll get into him and playing Cable a little bit later, but Josh Brolin playing the straight and serious Cable, playing off of Deadpool, who is just the flat out fool, but then also with other characters like Colossus, Negasonic Teenage War Hero, Negasonic Teenage. God, I can always fuck up her name, but you know what I'm saying. Like, all those, they actually make a joke about that in the film too. Her playing off of those other characters works. So even if there's like, the story isn't like the greatest, when you put Ryan Reynolds in these scenes with that humor, it works. And you just completely, even if you're trying to, like, I was in a mood when I saw this, because it literally took me 2 hours to get to the theater to see this one. I was already in a mood. I couldn't stay in that mood because it was funny as fuck. Like, you can sit there, like, if somehow you watch this film and don't laugh and don't enjoy yourself, something's seriously wrong with you. Go get yourself checked out. Mentioned it before, Cable and Domino. I know we heard a lot about the reshoots that happened with this film, and they basically came out and said they were adding more Cable and more Domino. I don't know if that's true. I'll go into it. I think I have a theory at the end of what they also did with that. But they work. Josh Brolin is having a hell of a month. First coming off of Thanos, now he's coming off with Cable in this film. It's great. It's perfect. They do a really good job, I think, with transitioning Cable to the movie. We're going to do our character corner on Cable a little bit later. I will say this, that they're pretty much starting with the initial versions of Cable that didn't really kind of go into some of his mutant powers, if you will say, for now. But like, you're gonna like that. You're gonna enjoy the version of Cable they put in there, and I think it opens up for the future with what they do with that character. Zazie Beetz as Domino is another scene stealer. Like, I'm gonna look really, really forward to seeing her in more of these films. And okay, this is not a spoiler because they actually said this in one of the trailers. They make a joke about how her powers of good luck are not cinematic, but there's this really good sequence. They show you a little bit of it in like either one of the TV spots or in the trailer. When you see the whole sequence there, it's perfect. It's great. She's great. Again, these are characters that, I don't know if they really did put more of them into the film, but once you see them, you're not going to be angry as they did, because it makes sense. The next thing that I really liked about this film is that it just continues to fix the character. It continues to fix the mess that the X-Men films are. So obviously there's Colossus, and I just can't state enough, between the first Deadpool film and this Deadpool film, what they've done with Colossus and actually make him feel like Colossus, this super strong Russian who is also a bit of a prude and is very, very serious. Like, it just works. It's so Colossus. And again, he's another one where you play Colossus, the straight-laced character, against, Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool. It just meshes really well, and it's great. And you gotta love what they do with this movie, and the fact that they actually understand what these characters are supposed to be, and they don't give us another shit character. And there's another character in here, not gonna say who it is. Some of you guys probably already know if you've been following around and following rumors and things like that. You might know who this character is. They put this character in there, and once again, fixing a character from previous versions. Just stay tuned. When we do our Deadpool spoiler review, I'm actually gonna do something that I don't normally do. I'm gonna do a spoiler with this one, a spoiler video. This one probably later on this week after the movie comes out, because I do want to discuss some of the things that this film does as far as fitting into the other X-Men films and things like that. So I'll talk more about that later on. And then the last one, this is to me is the biggest one, because all the things I mentioned before, you could tell from the trailer, like, Ryan Reynolds was never going to be a problem. The film was always going to be funny. Again, we saw Colossus in the trailer, so you knew they were doing Colossus right again. But the thing to me that really sells Deadpool 2 and what makes it's one of the things that's actually funny. It almost made me not like the film, and I'll explain why. And I led with it. Deadpool 2, once again, Deadpool 2 and Deadpool 1 do the X-Men way better than any of the X-Men films. Like, they get it. And I left Deadpool, like, really excited, really enjoyed it, and I sat in the car going, God damn it, why is it that Ryan Reynolds and the Deadpool team understand what it is to be an X-Men film? And because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with this one. The same thing that probably happened with the first one is some critics who aren't superhero fans are not going to understand that. They're going to think that Deadpool succeeds because it's a different kind of superhero film and it's making fun of superheroes. What they don't realize is that this is Deadpool and that Deadpool is doing exactly what Deadpool does in the comics. And that it's not that Deadpool succeeds because it's making fun of superhero films, but because it embraces the aspect of the X-Men and superhero genre, and it's doing all that stuff in that film, and that's why we love it as fans. They don't seem to understand that. Like, there are things this film does, like I said, like just fixing a character and just how they look, making sure the characters look well. Shit, you've seen the characters in their uniforms. They have X-Men uniforms. We don't have X-Men uniforms that look good in the films. Like, I know Dark Phoenix, whenever the fuck it's supposed to come out, it's supposed to finally have them in some decent X-Men uniforms. But how long has that taken? It's been 18 fucking years. And Deadpool does it in 2 movies where it's like, oh yeah, we have costumes here. They make it work. It doesn't make sense. But just beyond that, just the world they've created feels like the world we know as X-Men films. So like in the first film, Francis gets called a filthy mutant. Juxtapose that with Apocalypse, where the kids go out to the mall with a demon looking like Nightcrawler and nothing happens. Like, nobody calls them like filthy mutants or anything like that. In this film, the entire story of this film is basically Deadpool and Cable fighting over this kid. And this kid has been, you know, kind of tortured by humans. You see, like, he has this rage about what humans have done to mutants. Like, that's the baseline of this film. And if you go back to the first film, again, remember, they were experimenting on mutants. They were taking mutants. They were doing all this stuff. And here you have, like, you know, again, not just a feeling of, like, the humans are the real enemies here and the way they treat mutants and things like that. You have a detention center where they do, it's just, they get the X-Men in these Deadpool movies more than you get in the X-Men films. And it drives me crazy. It, like, makes me upset that I have to wait until Deadpool to get that. I know some people are going to go, oh, well, you know, no, Logan's my favorite X-Men film. Fuck, Logan's not an X-Men film. It's got Logan in it, it's got some mutants in it, but when we really, really fucking think about it, it's not really an X-Men film. It's just some old guy trying to save a kid, and that's it. Like, there's no real connection to the universe that we know of. The timeline's all fucking screwed up, you know? At least with Deadpool, they embrace that screw up, and they talk about it. No, X-Men films just happen. And there's no connection. There's no real. They water down characters. They make them look bad. Like, again, I'll go and just say it. Like, Wolverine. While I love Hugh Jackman, I would love to see Hugh Jackman actually in the Deadpool movies. Why? Because I think that they would actually have him acting like Wolverine and not just Hugh Jackman with claws. Closest we've ever gotten to Wolverine actually acting like Wolverine is actually X1. After that, never really happened. And you can, I know when some people sit there and go, oh, you're wrong. Check the box office. If you had told 13-year-old me that Deadpool would be the highest grossing X-Men film or X-Men related film, I would have called you fucking crazy. The idea that even, again, remember, we just had Logan. We had an R-rated Logan, which is what people said they wanted. That still did not make more money than the first Deadpool. And it's not going to make as much money as the second Deadpool, which I'm going to tell you right now, might go on to record as being the highest grossing R-rated film. And why? Because it embraced the source material. Yes, they changed things around, and I don't mind that. I don't care if you change things around as long as you get the essence of it. Like, It's not really a spoiler. I'm not even. I'll save it for the spoiler review. But like even some of the human characters, I had this thought in my mind. I was like, oh, that's who that is. That's what those are. I'm like, it's just they seem to get it. They found elements of the comics and they fold them into this movie. And yes, there's a little bit of a story mess here and there. There's a little bit of stuff here. But honestly, I get my X-Men fix from this, and it's great for the team. It's great for the Deadpool team to put this together. But at the same time, I think it's actually kind of full of shit that it takes Deadpool for Fox to understand. And I think that I think Ryan Reynolds has figured out that he has to convince Fox that it's making fun of superhero films and it's not a superhero film, because even that's how they kind of promote it. But it is Deadpool is more X-Men than anything else. And I think that, again, just some of the conversations the characters have with Deadpool and things like that about who the X-Men are, it does it better. I don't know what it is, but this goes back to why I'm not excited about Phoenix. It's why I'm not excited about this twice delayed now New Mutants film. I'm thinking that they keep trying to make these films, these into genre films, but by doing that, they want to remove out the piece that makes them superhero films. So they want to do a horror New Mutants film, but we're not going to put them in costume. We're gonna focus so much on being a horror. I'm sorry, guys, being an X-Men is a horror thing. Like, again, not spoilers, but here you have a kid in Deadpool 2 who has these powers. If you've read any X-Men film, if you read any X-Men book, you know, one, mutant powers manifest during adolescence. Man, it's also a hard time for most mutants because they find out they're different. Just like it's like hidden puberty, right? And imagine hidden puberty, but you can blow buildings up. So it's like, you don't really get that aspect in the X-Men films because they're too busy trying to be something fucking different. But imagine what it was. Like, we all have horrible memories of when we hit puberty. Now imagine if you hit puberty and you could blow a building up. That could actually be a fucking horror film. Imagine if, you protect, the idea of the X-Men is protecting a society that hates you. That's a horror film right there. You don't need to go extra to do that. But somehow, for some reason, that's what they do with the named X-Men films. And by doing that, they erase any element that gets me excited. But Deadpool 2, thank you. For all the problems they're going to have, it being the John Wick 2 to John Wick 1, all that, I excuse all of it. Because you know what? It gives me what I want from the X-Men. And this is what I want. If they can make Dark Phoenix like this, forget the humor, but just get the actual elements of feeling like I'm watching what I read on pages, then I'll do that. Hell, I know this probably has a lower budget than any of the X-Men films. Even the CGI fights are better than the X-Men films. Like, those CGI fights and those fights in Apocalypse were god awful. The fights in Deadpool 2, great, and they use CGI. So it just drives me crazy. Last thing, you know what? I'm gonna save the stuff I was gonna say about New Mutants and stuff like that. I'll save that for the spoiler review. We'll get into some stuff like that. Like I said, go see this film. Like, it's a great film. I don't know if I guess I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think for many people it's gonna be a 9, even a 10 out of 10. Again, for me, I'm just giving this app because of the little story elements here and there. But like, it's first weekend, go see this. You go see this shit. Maybe go see it twice. I know I'm gonna go see it again this weekend. And again, if you're an X-Men fan, I think you're gonna lose your shit. I think you're gonna be really excited. You're gonna be really happy. But then you're gonna get into your car and you're probably gonna freak out like I did and go, "Why the fuck can I get this from the other X-Men films?" So there you guys have it. Again, Deadpool 2, go see it. Again, we'll have an auto review coming out on with myself and Phenom coming on our podcast, movie trailer reviews. If you go to mtrnetwork.net, you can also sign up for our premium, and we're going to do our spoiler talk there, or you can wait and see the spoiler talk I do. It's going to be a little bit different, but I'm going to do a spoiler talk on YouTube. I want to talk about, like, the future, because, again, I know people are talking about the deal with Disney and things like that, but who knows if that's going to happen or if that goes through or not. I think that if it does or doesn't, there's a lot of things you can talk about building out an X-Men universe with Deadpool. So I'm really excited about that. Also, yeah, an X-Men Force film, all in. Like, I don't get excited for the X-Men films. I'm getting excited for X-Force film because Drew Goddard is supposed to be directing it, and if you have some of these characters into there, I'm in, all in. Sign me up. It's there. So, again, folks, thank you very much. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think about it. Let me know how many times you're going to see the film this weekend. Yeah, folks, MTR Network will be back soon. Matter of fact, if you're watching this, if you wait a few more hours, you should, or not even, oh, if you see this right when it comes out, because I think this is going to be around like 11 p.m. on Monday, 5 p.m. on Tuesday is when my spoiler-free solo review comes out, so stay tuned for that. So again, folks, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out of here. Peace.